President Trump proposing a new Middle East peace plan involving taking long-term control of Gaza and rebuilding it to the Riviera of the Middle East. Eamon Javers joins us now with more. Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Robert. President Trump made a surprising suggestion last night during a press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The United States, he said, should take over the war-torn Gaza Strip, where Israel has engaged in a bloody war with Hamas for more than a year, and redevelop it into something like a seaside resort. Here's what he said.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Now, Trump said he sees the area as the Riviera of the Middle East and that developing it would create thousands of jobs. He also said American troops could be involved to control the area if necessary. Standing beside Trump, Netanyahu confirmed that Israel and the U.S. are in talks about the idea and said, "I think it's something that could change history." The Gaza Strip includes 25 miles of Mediterranean coastline and a territory that is one of the most densely populated in the world, home to an estimated 2 million Palestinians. Trump's proposal seemed a sharp departure from his tone on the campaign trail, which was sharply critical of U.S. military and diplomatic involvement in the Middle East. But members of the Trump family, guys, they've eyed the real estate potential of the area before. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, said last year that Gaza's waterfront property could be very valuable. And we got a reaction from Hamas leaders overnight as well, guys, saying that Trump's comments represent confusion about Palestine, and they say that this is simply not something that's going to work. Back over to you.
Yeah, Eamon, what would legally, how would this work? Was there a discussion, I know the details were scarce here, but of buying it, of just taking it over? What would be the mechanism through which the U.S. gains control? Or was there any discussion of that?
There's no underlying detail here, Robert. This is the president throwing out an idea there. You could see from just the clip that we just played, he was reading these comments off of a prepared script that he had in front of him. So clearly there's some thinking that's gone into this, this wasn't just totally off the cuff. But we didn't get any background details from the White House in terms of exactly how this would work. What the president said is the U.S. would simply take over Gaza, presumably because the Israeli military has cleared out resistance and bombed out enormous amounts of territory there. The question is, who would legally run that? Would that be sanctioned by the UN? And then what would Hamas say about that, right? Obviously, this is a hotly contested piece of land, has been for, basically forever. The amount of resistance that we would get there would be epic. The reaction on Capitol Hill overnight, people were sort of agog over this, looking at it and saying, how would this even work? This seems like a non-starter. But the president is a real estate developer, and he sees things in those terms.
Yeah, it's the 51st state of Canada, it's Greenland, it's Panama, it's now Gaza. He likes land. He likes buying and owning more land.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. This is an isolationist president, right, who ran on the idea of getting out of the Middle East, not getting the U.S. involved in forever wars. And then here he's floating the idea of American troops in Gaza, which is, one of the biggest flashpoints on planet Earth. And you can imagine, if Baghdad was difficult, Gaza would be, X, percentage more difficult than that in terms of a military campaign. It's at odds with sort of his whole approach on the campaign trail as well.
Yeah, and it's at odds with, you would think, even the conversations he has had with Saudi Arabia. MBS has been a close ally in the past of the Trump administration. It's just a little strange to think of, and I've been trying to go around and around, figure out what they could possibly mean by this. In your most generous assessment of it, you could try and think of a Marshall Plan, but this is not that, because he has said he would remove the Palestinians and go in and actually potentially send U.S. troops in. So it's very different from that perspective. Obviously, there's something that needs to be done in Gaza post the Israeli invasion and the damage that's been done there. But this is very different from the Marshall Plan after World War II.
Yeah, I mean, the immediate criticism you heard over the night last night was that, this is ethnic cleansing, right? I mean, talking about removing the entire population of Palestinians and replacing them basically with tourists at a Mediterranean resort. That's not a great look. The president didn't say, though, that he wanted to remove all the Palestinians. In the plan that he kind of teased last night, he said that world people, meaning people from everywhere, would live in Gaza once it's been redeveloped, along with Palestinians. But he also seems to envision removal of a large number of Palestinians. Remember, there's 2 million people crammed into a very small area there. He seems to envision removing a large percentage of that population to other Arab countries throughout the region. Those countries have signaled that they don't want to take those populations. So it's not clear where those people would go. Trump simply making the argument that Gaza is bombed out and destroyed and really uninhabitable right now, and the Palestinians should, he said, want to go somewhere else. I think that's going to be a question for the Palestinians, right? I mean, ask them where they want to go and what they want to do. But clearly, if you're going to turn this into a Middle Eastern, Mediterranean
I don't think they want to go anywhere. That's been the point.
The Palestinians might want to own it, right? I mean, what's their equity stake in this New Deal?
Yeah, Eamon, so complicated. Not going to be an easy real estate deal, even for Trump.